Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome to BG Codes. Let's do it live. Today, I'm still working on my Giftex application. It's a Secret Santa web application, and one of the things that I've struggled with quite a bit was authentication. I can do it from the client side just fine, but anytime I hard refresh a page, nothing. And this is because I haven't actually sent over any kind of authentication token to the server side when I request a page. So Firebase provides the ability to give me a token, and then from the server side, I can pass along that token and validate it with Firebase so that a user's session can persist until whatever expiration date we give the cookie. I've struggled with this in the past, but I think I finally got it figured out, and we'll kind of put it all together today. So learn along with me. Here we go. Here's the Giftex application, and I've done a little bit of work behind the scenes, so I'll show you. Let's see, let's pull up the login pages and the authentication pages, stuff like that, and open up the console. So if I log in, okay, cool, and then I refresh the page, I should see some console logs. Oh, no, okay. Maybe that was only on the home page. Okay, maybe not. Let's figure out what it was that I did. Oh, I never committed stuff from last time. Okay, here we go. User, okay. So here's what I'm doing. We might have to do this for multiple pages, but let's just start on the index page. Anytime a user logs in, what happens? Here is my user context. And in user context, I have a login method. Anytime a user logs in, I can run, this is a Firebase method on the user object. I can run a method called getIDToken. This is a JWT, a JSON web token. And we can send this in a cookie over to the server side with every single request. And this is what will actually persist a user's authentication through reloads. So after a login, I should have a token in local storage, which I don't think is needed, and a cookie set here. Document.cookie token equals token. So let's see. Let's go to the application. Clear out everything. Let's clear out local storage, and let's clear out cookies. And we will hard reload the page. And we'll start fresh. Okay, cool. So upon login, a lot of this stuff should reappear. So here we go. Nothing in local storage, nothing in cookies. When I log in, I do get my token here in cookies, and it's set in local storage as well. That's not really important. Sweet. Now, what has to happen is on reload, on a page reload, this is now a server-side request to retrieve the page. So let's just start with the index page, which is right here. Next.js exposes a method called getInitialProps. This is what runs when you request a page on the server side. Southern Comfort and Coke, by the way, highly recommend. very smooth, helps me concentrate at night. So I'm running this method, passing in this thing called context. And context is what is the default argument, but it takes in the request object. So let's log out context.rec so you can see what it is. If I go to the home page, I'll go to console here. If I go to the home page, this is server side, so it's dumping into the console, obviously. Context.rec, this is the request object. And the request object has a raw headers option as well as a headers object. And I think that's it. I don't think I have the ability to access like cookies through an object specifically. I'm just going to keep scrolling up, see if I'm missing anything. No. So rec.headers.cookies is where I can find them, or .cookie. And now let's log this out and refresh the page. And you'll notice this is like, let me stop this other log. You're going to notice that this is going to be like very hard to work with. Refreshing the page. Okay. And so you'll see that when you dump the cookie, it's a giant string. So if you had multiple cookies on here, this would be like tough to parse. So there's this little library called Next.js that parses that object for us. I just want to run a quick search because there's Next cookie versus JS cookie. I don't think I understand the difference. Good cookie solutions for Next. Yeah, I'm going to go with Next cookie because that's what the official Next examples say. So let's say GitHub Next.js examples. Let me pull this up and send it your way. So I was looking specifically at pages, credentials, no. Server. Oh, they use sessions. I'm not familiar with sessions really. But I think we can do the cookie thing just fine. So let me link the with cookie auth. This is what I'm kind of following as an example. And they use, on the server side, if you look in package.json, they use Next cookies. Display name. Trying to find it. Yeah, and this will just read it right out of there as an object, which is kind of nice. So instead of having to like parse that giant string, you can just rely on this to do it. So that's what I did. I imported next cookie, handed it the context, and it handled all that stuff for us. So we get cookies back, and then I just destructured cookies to get a token, and there we go. And now I'm going to reload the page. And we should see just our token get spit out here, which is exactly what we want. So now this means that on every request to the server, our JWT is being included in a cookie in the request. And so this is how we're going to persist authentication. Okay. I'm putting this together in my head still as we go. Now I need to verify this token. And I think this is where the Firebase example is going to come in really helpful. So here's Firebase authentication. Auth on state change, Firestore database listener. Okay, so here we go. We create something called Firebase. Oh, and this is the login API. Yeah, okay. And so here, this is a Firebase admin that we can then run auth on. So let's see what I've got. So for me, I keep Firebase over here in utils. Is there an auth.verify password? No. Okay. Is there admin here anywhere? No. So let's see. Let's go find. It's called Firebase admin. So I'm going to pop over to the documentation and try to find this Firebase admin thing. Go to docs. Okay. So I think this is going to be the admin SDK. Lets you interact with Firebase from privileged environments. Verify Firebase auth tokens. Now, how come you can't do that from the client side? I don't know. Okay, well, this is fine. So I need Firebase admin. Yarn add Firebase -admin. Do I have it already in my package.json? No, just Firebase. So let's bring in this. And how do we initialize it? Don't know if this will work, but I will try it. Looks like it. Okay, then I have to initialize it. And here it looks like I might have to grab some credentials that you guys probably can't see. So I'm going to flip off my screen for a second. You should still be able to hear me talk. So what I'm doing, generate a private key file, click and generate server. Set the environment variable to the path of the JSON file. Whoa. Initialize without parameters. I mean, that's kind of nice. How do they do it in the example? I'm going to bring my face back. So there's a couple ways to do this. So let's start here. And I really want to export something called admin from here, which means we need to initialize it. And this database URL is going to be exactly the same as this one. Now, admin.credential.application default. What is that doing? Once you've created a Firebase project, you can initialize the SDK with an auth strategy. That combines your service account together with application default credentials. Let's get a private key file in JSON format. To generate a private key file, do this and securely store the JSON file containing the key. How? Like, so where do you store that? That's secure. So this, they don't have any of these credentials listed, which would be wide open. And yet when they run this, they're just grabbing that file as JSON essentially. So let's see, maybe I can generate it and store it in an environment variable. Yeah, and do that. When authorizing via a service account, you have two choices for providing the credentials. You can either set the environment variable or you can explicitly pass the path. But where do you store the JSON file that's secure? I do not know. SDK can be initialized with no parameters. In this case, it uses the application default credentials and reads the options from the Firebase config variable. Oh. All right, that's cool. Note the Firebase config environment variable is included automatically in Cloud Functions. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to hide my face again. We'll really hide my whole desktop. And go into my Google application default credentials to see if I have any of that. What the heck? Of course, there's like a gazillion page documentation on this. My God, this is complicated. So right now they're showing me this code snippet. But I don't understand. I don't understand what it is. I'm going to do some more Googling. Yeah, I need like a plain human explanation of this. Yeah, no shit. You need to deploy this JSON file in your code with a bunch of private shit in it. Yet I'm hosting all this on open source, or I'm checking all this in open source. Oh my god, this is so ridiculous. I'm hosting on now, so I don't know how to put like files on the local system. First approach is to, once you have your development environment set up, you can initialize. Hmm. Yes, this is better. Firebase team just released a new feature in the admin SDK that enables loading all Firebase config options from the environment. Simply make a JSON file and set Firebase config environment variable to point to it. I'm still not totally sure how that all works. But I think it's close enough to try. This makes more sense. Well, I don't know. Let me see. Let me try to download this JSON file and see what's in it. Yeah, I'm looking at this and it's like a bunch of private keys. And I can't. I don't even know how this would work. So Let's maybe try the last thing that this article recommended. So this is saying the Firebase config can be initialized as a JSON object. Can I put environment variables in JSON files? I don't know. Probably not. I will revoke access to those tokens. So here's config.json. It's going to be something like this. I mean, I'm assuming I can't go process.env. Something. It's not valid JSON. So I have to put stuff in there. Which I'm going to hide my screen again and go ahead and do that. So it needs the database URL. Which I've got. My project ID. And the bucket name. Okay. I mean, that's simple enough. And so now what do we need to do? Firebase config, if it begins with a open bracket, it will be parsed as a JSON object. Otherwise, it assumes that it's the name of a JSON file containing the options. Okay. So I'll hide the screen again and update that. So my environment should have a Firebase config. And the path to the JSON file would be utils config.json. So now how do I initialize? Just admin.initialize app, which is that what they're doing? No, they're putting all this stuff in there. But we'll see. And so this admin thing should be able to do something called .auth. Let's see if it even logs it or if it can compile. I'll restart. Module not found, can't resolve child process in blah. So this is a Firebase admin issue. Yes, agreed. It's only supposed to be run on server side. So how do I know I'm on server side? Is there a check for the window object or what? How does the cookies one do it? So it's not going to be in pages. It's going to be in utils auth. Yeah, Tim, I appreciate it here, but I don't want to use class components. I want to use functional components. Hey, what's up, William? Yeah, struggling today for sure. Successfully sending over a cookie to get initial props. And then I'm trying to validate that cookie with Firebase. Firebase setup was rough. It's not working right now. Yeah. Component will mount. Give me functional components. William, if you have any insight here, what is the best way to determine if you're on client or server in Next.js? Process.browser. You got the cookie sent to the server side already? Yes, sir. Here's my page component, get initial props, and I'm using the next cookie package. Get initial props only runs in server. Okay, cool. Oh, that's because I'm importing Firebase JS. I should have a separate import of Firebase JS that only the server side calls. Let's try this then. Yeah, so anyways, here's my index page. I'm using the next cookie package to parse the cookies and then grab my token out of there, which is a JSON web token that I need to verify with the Firebase. So now I'm doing the Firebase setup here. And I suppose, how do I only import? How do I only import Firebase admin? On server side? Yeah, I haven't done anything with Firebase and Next.js. Yeah. So let's say you've got a package that only works on server side. How do you conditionally import it or only import it and get initial props? Auth cookies with GraphQL. Yeah. I'm just going to make a file that says auth.js. I'm going to make a method in there called validate token. I don't care. I'm just going to stub it out. Try using, okay, yeah. Right, because this is Node.js. If something const some var equals require package. I can do that out. Okay, yeah, import and export have to be at the top level. But I suppose I can do that here, right? Like, wow, okay, this looks like it's compiling at least. Okay. Am I getting logs for anything? Yeah, now it blows up. Can't resolve child process. I don't know what that means. So if something, what is the something? Well, you said we already know this runs on server side only, get initial props. So what's the reason for something? Not sure what the Boolean should be. Let's comment all this out. Can I even require admin? No. Waiting. Okay. Yeah. Error with Google off. But look, I think admin is actually coming through. Yeah, I can't even import Firebase right now. Yeah, it's not bringing up too much. Oh, here we go. Might have found one. 2017. Yeah, I think I'm on node 12 right now. Yeah, 12 at the moment. Oh, dang. 12 days ago. Looks like things are still happening. Which node version are you using? I think Firebase has problems with V8. Need to use V10. Oh, now dev uses something else. Ooh, I think I'm not using now dev to run this. I think I'm using next dev. I may check if some Firebase stuff is outdated. Oh no, I literally just installed Firebase admin, so it can't be outdated. Right, does not work on the client side. So how do I make sure I'm only importing this on the server side? So I think we'll have to see process.browser. If not process.browser, this code will only run on the server. I don't know. Let's just see. Maybe for some reason, this is trying to run on the client, and it's really having some issues. Yeah, I was thinking about that. So I thought that Firebase, not like in Next.js, is React. Yeah, I'm trying to do something that I don't have to stand up a backend for. I thought Firebase would work for this as it's kind of client-side based real-time database stuff. I thought authentication would work as well. But yeah, the minute you refresh a page, that kind of goes out the window. Maybe my thinking is maybe my thinking is wrong about this. But I was under the assumption that, you know, all this Firebase stuff I can read and write directly to Firestore from the client side. I was just looking for a way to persist authentication on page reloads. I have a feeling this comes down to me like not totally understanding the client server relationship with Firebase. But it actually looks like me wrapping this in this if statement helped. The default Firebase app already exists. Hmm. Williams says, for the initial page load, get initial props will execute on the server. On the server only. It will only be executed on the client when navigating to a different route. Makes sense. So that's cool. So I'm casing this to only run on the server. That being said, now it's telling me I'm running it twice. Somehow I'm running it twice. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why it's getting called twice. Ard Williams in the chat about to let us know what he does with GraphQL authentication. Yes. Okay. Step 1, the login process. Front end gives credentials to API. API returns a token. 2, token is kept on client side as a cookie. Great. I definitely have those two things done. I have a login page that speaks with Firebase that returns the token, and I store that in a cookie. Now, the second half of this is the tough part. If a cookie is found, all upcoming API calls will have this cookie embedded in its header. Yes, you're talking like AJAX calls from the client. API will look at this cookie and auth them before each call. Totally. Yeah, that all makes a lot of sense. What about navigating directly to a page? Like not an AJAX call, but like, you go to the browser and type in a URL. Yes, still works. Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. Like I'm assuming when this page is loaded, if cookie is found, then make API call. Yes. So the process you're describing, testing if the cookie is present or not, and redirecting to the login page occurs on the server, right? That would occur in get initial props. Is that right? Like I'm going to look at this with cookie example. Yep, cool. So that's why I was focusing on that get initial props method. Yet friggin' Firebase will not load for me. So in examples, I go to cookie auth. Yeah, I'm not sure if Firebase is any different. Yeah, so I'm using the admin API, which is meant to be run from the server, from what I understand. So this seems to be the magic sauce here. This is the with cookie example, with cookie auth example. in a util file. And there's this method called auth, and it reads the cookie just like I'm doing. Great. This happens only on server. Context.rec is available. Okay. We already checked for server. This should only happen on the client. Okay, great. So if there's no token, then you do a client-side router push. This auth method kind of skips the part where it says, hey, validate the actual token. Yep. Yeah, but what happens when, what happens in that other case where, okay, a token is provided. Now I need to validate that it works. And that's where Firebase comes in. So on some page, not index, I guess profile, they'd need to be authenticated for. Profile should have a get initial props. Const redirect on error. Yeah, okay. I guess this is kind of where they do that. It reads the cookie. Right. Yeah, so auth doesn't do the token verification. It just goes to /login if a token's not found. Cool. It's this get initial props that does more validation. So it looks like this is doing a fetch. Yeah. Now, if you look over at the www pages profile.js, this is where it does the token validation. And it does a fetch on a URL, which is like GitHub's, profile.js, it looks like. And if it basically does an auth, it redirects. Again, which is great. My problem is integrating Firebase. William seems to be onto something. I'm all ears. A separate API. So I have to host a backend. And I think my confusion here comes from the difference between get initial props. I don't actually know where that's running. It's running on the server side somewhere, but I don't know what that means. I'm deploying to now. Which I'm assuming puts each page in their own serverless function. The API URL according to the README of this example. Now env. It's over here. Yeah. And he builds two things, a Next.js and a Node API. Yeah. Yep. In Next.9 we support API routes, right? So I can write those directly in the application. Okay, so I think, yep, which is Node, yeah. Yeah, and the alternative is what, going and deploying my own Lambda function or Google Cloud function to expose the same stuff. Okay, so I think I'm going to take a break there, call it quits, and then move into that tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, I will investigate Next.js 9's API routes and getting Firebase up and running there to do my token verification. William, maybe I need to hit you up on Twitter after this and get a little more context, but I think I have a path forward. This is something I've definitely been struggling with for quite a while. And once again, all the guys at Zeit want to come hang out in my stream, and I appreciate that. One day I'll get this app up and off the ground. So, William, thank you again so much for your help. And tomorrow I'll come back to this and start on the API routes. Thank you so much. Peace out, guys.